Friends, I'm so glad you're joining me for today's Tuesday tip. Look at these amazing triple pop-out cards we're going to be creating. You're not going to believe how easy these cards are to make. We're going to go through everything step by step. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so glad you guys are joining me for today's Tuesday tip because these cards are phenomenal. So there's one secret ingredient to making this card, and it is just one simple piece of cardstock. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to walk you through everything. So let's go ahead and talk about the free download that I have for you that goes along with today's video. I love that I can provide this for you because this free download has everything that you need. So when you're ready to recreate the cards, you'll have it all right there at your fingertips. So I've got a complete supply list. You can see here are the measurements for both cards. So all the supplies, you can get them all cut and ready. I have photos, so you always know what cards go with what free download. And of course, a QR code. So if you need to come back and watch the video again, you'll always have access to it. You can click or scan, whatever works best for you. And remember, if you're in the United States, you can order any of the supplies I'm using in my cards today right here. You can click this graphic or there's a link right here. Friends, thank you so much for your support of the channel. Your orders allow me to do what I do. So let's get started with our first card. The first one we're going to make is a Valentine's card. Yes, that is right around the corner. And this one, I've got lots of little tips and tricks hidden in this card. And that is what the inside of the card looks like. Very fun to send this card to your sweetheart or maybe to the kids. You can just sign right here. If you wanted, you could also write a message here, or you could add another. You really want to give your sweetheart lots of loves. You could add another piece right here and write on the back. But let's jump in so we can create the card. My card base is a real red. This is 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. So a basic card size. On top of that, we are going to add a piece of basic white. This is a 3 3/4 by 5. Let's go ahead and do our stamping on that. And I'm going to be using the Hearts of Elegance stamp set for this card. It's a fantastic one for Valentine's Day. This one, it also comes as a bundle. So you can order the stamp set or you can order the dies. But you know what? If you want them both, order them together as a bundle and you save 10%. So we will be using the Hearts of Elegance dies as well. I'm going to bring in a Memento black ink pad and we're going to stamp Happy Valentine's Day. And we're going to stamp this down at the bottom of our cardstock. All right, now a little adhesive here on the back. We're going to add this to the front of our card base. I'm going to bring in a real red ink pad now. And I decided for this card, I wanted to do a little stamping on the inside. You know, sometimes it's just nice to have a little something extra on the inside of a card. So I loved this little flower. So I'm just going to stamp this randomly all over the left side of my card base. All right, for now, I'm going to set this off to the side. We're going to do a little more stamping. I've got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. These are 1 3/4 by 2 7/8. So on one of these, I'm going to stamp in the Memento black, "My heart belongs to you." And now for my next one, we're going to bring that flower in again. And this is where you're going to just sign your name. So we don't want to stamp a lot. We want plenty of room for writing. So I'm just going to just kind of hit the edges of that. Now we come in with our leaves, our little stem and leaves. And we just want to kind of barely touch that just to give that nice little burst of green. Now we're ready to stamp some more of those flowers. And I'm going to be stamping them in 3 colors. So since I've already done my real red, I'm going to stamp a real red flower there. I'm going to clean my stamp. And for that, I'm just going to use my chamois. I don't want that to get too far away from me because I'm going to need it again. Now let's bring in some bubble bath. I'm going to stamp another flower there in bubble bath. Now I'm going to bring in my Pretty in Pink. Now, Pretty in Pink is a little bit darker than the bubble bath. So you're welcome to just kind of tap off if you want. I'm not too worried about cleaning it since these colors are so close together. So there are my 3 flowers in 3 colors. Now we're going to need 3 of our leaves here. So we'll just stamp 3 of those here. All right, now it's time to bring in the bundle. I love working with dies. It makes my life so much easier. So we're going to die cut the 3 flowers. We're going to die cut the 3 sets of leaves. So I'm going to go get that done for you. But while we're doing some die cutting, let's also bring in some real red. And it is a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And we're going to take this little this heart, and we're going to die cut 3 of these from this piece of real red. Now, when you're die cutting, one thing I want you to be aware of is that we are going to cover that with a piece of 3 by 3 designer series paper. And this is from the Marbled Elegance designer series paper. So when you're die cutting, make sure you're kind of sticking to the inside of that real red. Now, speaking of our Marbled Elegance designer series paper, we're also going to take a die. The heart, you'll see which one fits in there nicely. We're going to die cut that as well. Lots of die cutting. I'm going to run and get all this done for you, and then we can kind of start to put our card together. And there we go. All of our die cutting is done for the card. So we're going to start to put some things together. Let's start with this piece here. So these are the ones that you're going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So we're going to take the designer series paper, and we're going to add that. This is a 3 by 3 designer series paper. It's going to go right here on top of that 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 real red. It looks awful, I know. Let's go ahead and bring our card base in. We can add this to the front of the card, and then we're going to do something fun with that heart. So I'm going to add that right here. So with the heart, even though I really like that marbled side, we're going to use the opposite side, and I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals. All right, we're going to remove the backings from our dimensionals. This is just going to make the front of our card really awesome. We're going to line up our die, and it's going to fit right in there. So now we have just a really fun heart on the front. Okay, are you ready to work on the inside? Now it's time to create that amazing pop. And here's how we're going to do that. I've got a piece of cardstock, 4 inches by 5 3/8. All right, 5 3/8. Now we're going to do some scoring with that 4 inches up at the top. Simple. Score it 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch. Easy enough, right? I'm going to bring in my bone folder, and we're going to give all these score lines a crease, and we're going to add this to the inside of our card. But I just remembered, before I add that, I'm going to add a piece of basic white, because I want the inside of the card to really have a nice pop of color. And I know white's not typically a color, but boy, it sure brightens up the card. And you know what? I just realized, look, I must have had a little ink on my fingers. I'm going to turn that around. It's a good time for me to share this little tip, because it does happen from time to time. We get a little inky. That's going to be hidden. So I'm going to put that there towards the inside of my card. All right, so here's our little pop-up. And I want you to see, we're going to fold it so that the 2 ends meet. I'm going to put adhesive all the way down both sides. All right, both sides. We don't want this to cut loose. So we've got that. It's super sticky. De-stickify myself there. And I'm going to start with one end. So I'm going to put all the pieces, all those panels towards me. And it's going to adhere onto this white. But what I want you to do is do your best to bypass that score line, okay? We really want this. We want to make sure our card will close, and it will. But, you know, if we hit that score line, it can cause things not to want to go together. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just simply, can you see? I'm going to fold that flap down, bring it over, bring it down, okay? Boom. It's going to create just a little box on the inside. I'm going to give this a press. That all works perfect. That's what we need to do. All right, now to create the 3 panels on the inside. I have 3 pieces of real red cardstock. These are all the same. They are a 1 3/4 by 3 1/8. And let's go ahead and adhere. We had the 2 pieces that we stamped earlier. So let's add My heart belongs to you. We'll add that to 1. The 1 we're going to write our message on, we're going to add that to this one right down here. I have 1-inch section. So that means when I flip this over, I only want adhesive no more than 1 inch going across. Okay, just on that one end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up with the top of my cardstock, my little pop-up there, and the side. Do you see how that's just going to fit right in there? But we do want it to be touching the top of that cardstock. So there's 1. This is the one I'm going to write my message on, and we're going to do the same thing. You want that adhesive down just on the one end, and we're going to line it up with the bottom of the card. Okay, that's simple enough, right? All right, now for our next one, we're going to add it in between and on the other side. So just like this. Now I am actually going to go ahead and do this, and then I've got some tricks to teach you about adding that flower. So this is going to go right in between, and just kind of make sure everything's kind of lined up there. That looks great there. Now let's add our flowers. And what I want to do really quick is I want to add the leaves to all of my flowers, okay? Just a little bit of adhesive on the back of each one of these. And now we're ready to add these. One thing I want you to be aware of, and let me just kind of show you, when you close this card, the edge of this panel is just touching the edge of the card. So we don't want anything hanging off of there, all right? We want that to stay right close to that edge. So I'm going to lightly put it down so I have the ability to move it around if I need to. Now I'm going to take my other flower and we're going to add it right here. You notice, again, we couldn't close the card if it were hanging off, so we want to keep that there. This one, though, this one can come off the top just a little bit if you'd like it to. Now, the only thing we want to make sure is that as it's hitting this, it's all going to close, all right, as it's hitting this panel here. And yeah, I seem to be doing good there, which means I'm good to go. I'm going to give those a good press. That part of my card is done. Now, remember those 3 hearts that we die cut. We're going to add these to the side just to kind of give that white that we have going on there. We want to give it just a little oomph. And you know, I love using the layers of my cardstock to do other things before I start to put a card together. I mean, why not, right? It's really nice to use those layers in a really fun way. Now I'm going to do something else a little unheard of to the inside of this card. I have got the brand new, this is the gold trim, and it's really nice and thin. And you know what that means? I can actually add this bow to the inside of my card. Now, typically, I can never add a bow to the inside of a card. So I'm going to take a mini glue dot, and I'm just going to kind of roll it just in a little tiny ball here, and I'm going to put it down at the end of my sentiment that I have here on the inside of my card. I'm going to press that bow into place. Now, if any of the adhesive is kind of sticking out, and it might, just kind of do your best to de-stickify it. It's going to hold my ribbon down, but I don't want it to seal up my card. Now, I realize that's sticking out. That's not going to be a problem when I mail it. But that is how easy it is to create a triple pop-up card. Now, if you'd like to see another one, stick around. I've got a second card, a baby card, to share with you as well. Before we jump into our second card, just a reminder that the free download that goes along with this card is available at simplysimplestamping.com. Now, you can also look down in the YouTube description. I have a direct link to today's post where you can find that. So when you're ready to recreate the cards, you'll be all set. All right, with that, let's create a really sweet baby card. All my measurements are going to be very much the same. So my petal pink card base is the same. My pop-up is the same. Again, in the petal pink, remember that was 4 inches by 5 3/8. And with the 4 inches up at the top, scored at 1, 2, and 3 inches. So that'll be our pop-up. We've got our piece here of our basic white. That's going to go here on the inside of our card. Now we're ready to do a little stamping. So I'm going to be using the Cutest Onesie stamp set. This is another one that we're going to use the stamp set, and we are going to use the matching dies. Remember, just like before, these can be ordered as a bundle. You save 10% when you buy it that way. Look at these sweet little dies. It is going to make for such a cute card. So let's go ahead and get to stamping. I'm going to bring in a petal pink ink pad. And inside this stamp set is this sweet little cloud. Just kind of says sweet baby, right? I'm going to stamp this randomly all over the outside edges of my card. And I say the outside edges because we're going to put our focal image here on the inside. So I'm not too worried about what's going on right there. I might, just to be on the safe side, stamp just a few in case it shows, but I think that should be good right there. And like we did before on our other card, I'm going to do it again here on the inside. So I've got a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock. This is a 2 3/4 by 4 inch, or I'm sorry, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. We're going to take the little rattle and the little hanger, and we're going to do 2 sets of these. So I'm going to do a set of the 2 pieces, and then I'm going to repeat that right over here. And you will have something like this. Now, we don't want our dies to get too far away because now we're ready to die cut our little onesie. So I have a piece of designer series paper here that is 4 inches by 2.5 inches. So let's take that little onesie and our garden green ink pad, and we're going to stamp our onesie twice. So I'm going to stamp it here. I'm just going to rotate that around, makes it a little bit easier to fit 2 of those. I will stamp that right there. Now we can come in with the matching die, and we're going to die cut both of those. Now we're going to take our little hanger, and I've got a surprise for you. There is actually in the die a little slice right there. So you can come in from the back, bring that little hanger in. Aww. Right? So cute. So that's how you're going to add your hanger. You're going to do these to both of your little onesie. All right, a little more stamping. So some petal pink ink. And for this card, we're going to stamp a big welcome to your. I don't like how I stamp that. It's a little crooked. I'm going to flip it over. Let's try that again. A big welcome to your, that's better. I'm now going to take my onesie, and we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to add this to the card. You notice I'm putting dimensionals on that hanger. It's going to kind of help hold that in place. And we'll add that to the center of our card. Now we're going to say a big welcome to your new baby. Go right down there. Do you remember our pumpkin pie cardstock that we did that die cutting? This is where we're going to come in. We're going to hide that. No one will ever see that. Now we can add this to our card front. Now you can kind of see why I said I wasn't too worried about the middle of the card, because a lot of it was going to be covered. So we can add our focal image right there. Time to work on the inside. So you remember how we created our little flap. Let's go over it one more time. Remember, we just bring those together. We have adhesive down both of the ends. When we bring those 2 ends together, we'll start with one end to the inside. Bring that right to the score line. Fold this flap down. You should see 2 flaps right now. We'll bring that down. Let's make sure everything's folding together. Give that a press. Our pop-up's ready. Now, do you remember last time we had our 3 panels that were going to go on the inside? So we're going to go ahead and add those. And yeah, I just realized I do have a little more stamping to do. But, we'll go ahead and add these. Remember, go right up to the top of that piece of cardstock that's popping out there on the inside, and the one at the bottom. And then, of course, this one, remember, this one goes on the other panel. So right here, so we kind of flip that card around, bring this one in. It needs to be touching the side of the card here. Finish that stamping. Why I didn't do it at the beginning, I don't know. But for this piece, we actually need 3 pieces of basic white. So let's go ahead and bring in our garden green ink pad for the sentiments for the inside. All right, for the first one, we're going to stamp right in the middle, wishing you lots of joy. And then I have a congratulations, and that is going to go on another one. When you stamp this one, stamp all the way up at the top. because this is where you're going to write your message. Uh, it's not a lot of space to write a message. If you're anything like me, I struggle. I struggle with what to say, so that's kind of nice. This one here, we're going to leave alone because that's the one that's going to have our little onesie on it. So let's come back in with our petal pink, and we've got this sweet little heart. So I'm going to stamp a little heart on my congratulations. And then on my wishing you lots of joy, let's just get a little random, shall we? Let's just stamp some fun hearts all around. Just kind of gives it some of that little whimsy that we like there. Okay, guys, time to put this one together. All right, wishing you lots of joy. Here's our congratulations. That's going to go down here at the bottom. And then our blank, right? We're going to add this one right here. So now we can bring in our little onesie, and then we have those two little rattles. Remember those? Now, when we add this one, remember what I told you before, this panel, this middle panel will stick out. So we need to kind of make sure we're sticking this right to that edge and that we're not going off that edge. So, you know what? I think I'm going to actually add some adhesive here on the panel itself. That way I can add my little onesie here, remembering not to go off. Now for that little rattle, we can add that right there. And of course, since we had two of them, we'll add another one right down there. Now, we used that gold thread on the last card. Remember, we used it on the inside. This one, we're going to put it on the outside. And just like before, with that little rolled up mini glue dot, there we go. Oh my gosh, it's so, so cute. Do you love that? That's going to be a cherished card, let me tell you. Let me go ahead and bring in the other cards. So, you know what? Here's the thing. I focused on Valentine's and a baby card. Friends, this card, you've got so many different opportunities that you can use this for birthdays and even thank you and thinking of you. They are just such a fun card. And, you know, they're going to be amazed when they open that card and see that pop out. As always, I hope that you were inspired by today's video. Hey, if you were, would you do me a favor? There is a like button, a little thumbs up button there on YouTube. If you'd give that a click, I would appreciate it. It lets me know what you like seeing and what you want to see more of. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, hey, this is a great day to be a subscriber. It's free. All you have to do is click that subscribe button. And if you ring the bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with another video. I share twice a week here on the channel, and we'd love to have you join us. Well, my friends, that's all for me. Thank you again so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day. Go create something amazing this week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.